been so long since I've live streamed on Retro Ralph. Actually, I think the last live stream was at Christmas time, and I was streaming Venom Pinball, and everyone came to see how much of a whiskey drink it would take for me to start making no sense. And it took not that very much because, you know, I'm a lightweight when it comes to the alcohol. So, oh boy, coming in hot. Retro Joe's Entertainment. Yeah, we only stream about cookies here. This is actually a cookie review channel now, so that's all. If you're thinking you're coming here and we're going to talk about gaming, you are sorely mistaken. We are just going to talk about milk and cookies, and that's it. That's it. And if you look really closely into the camera, just real close, you just got to think really, really hard about it, cookies will just come through the other side. It's this new technology that we're working out. It's amazing. So just stare for a while. I want to say hi to a couple people just because it's been so damn long. Well, I want to say hi to all of you guys. I haven't streamed in so long that like it made me re-log into all this stuff. It's like, yeah, we don't even know who you are anymore. Jason, how's it going? I'm not one to say hi to every single person because it just takes forever, but it's been so long that I feel like we should. Not everyone, but Jolly Green, how are you, man? Long time viewer, I appreciate you being here. Retro Joe, I met him at SoCal Expo. I always say SoCal Retro Gaming Expo, but it's only because that's what it used to be called. E1186. Well, I'm glad to have you, man. I know it's your first time. That's awesome. Hopefully I won't disappoint you. It's been so long. I don't even remember how to do this. My buddy Rusty Grill from Chicago. How are you, man? Jason, thank you so much for supporting all of my content, man. You're everywhere. I appreciate it. Lewis Chambers has been with me for a very long time. Great dude. Big part of the gaming community in general. So anyways, I didn't really know what I was going to talk about. This thumbnail, I made this, or I didn't make it, but Mason made this thumbnail in October. So that just goes to show how backed up I am on things. But yeah, it's been a long time. And so, you know, there's a lot that's gone on over the last, let's say, since Christmas, 6 months. The reason why I originally was calling it State of the Arcade Union is because I wasn't sure where things were headed in my personal collection. I know everyone likes to keep track of what games are coming in, what games are going out. And if you watch the channel, I had made this video saying I sold everything, right? Of course, I didn't sell everything, but I sold a lot. I mean, it might as well have been everything. I want to say it was close to 12 games. I think at the peak, I had close to, if you count the storage units. By the way, this is a cause for celebration. Of course, I'm not going to remember where my applause button is. Let me see. It might be right. Let me just make sure I tee this up. All right. I don't even know if you... Yeah, okay. The applause button, I think, works. So I don't even know if you guys can hear this, but there is some room for applauding because I finally got out of all my storage units. I do not have a single storage unit anymore, and that's pretty cool because, man, the storage units were killing me. And when you think about it, right, to have a bunch of games in storage, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, right? And I will tell you that my original intent was to, was to maybe open up an arcade someday. I've kind of moved past that idea. That idea isn't going to happen probably, at least not in the foreseeable future. So it just doesn't make sense to store a bunch of arcade games that I'm not playing, right? So I did sell off a bunch of them. So Ezekiel, what's up, man? I met Ezekiel at Pinball Expo last year. Unfortunately, I didn't get to talk to him for very long, but he was very nice. We did meet him, and I met his daughter. Super cute. He says, what's up, Ralph? How are you, man? Long time. Hopefully you and the family are doing well. We are. We're doing great. And I appreciate that, man. Appreciate the $5. I appreciate the super chat. And hopefully I'll see you at Expo. You've been acquiring a bunch of stuff, man. He's on a rampage. This guy is very motivated. I think his main plan is to open up an arcade. And of course, I would be very supportive of anybody that's looking to do that. So that's pretty awesome. Unfortunately, it's not in the cards for me. But I will definitely love to support you in any way that I can. So Nick says, what's up? Well, he's saying what's up to Gio, not me, but that's my buddy Nick Madsen. Conti is here. I met Conti at Pinball Expo last year. I'm looking forward to another Pinball Expo this year. We'll talk a little bit about that in a minute because there's a lot going on with that. Brian, thank you. Brian says he's been listening to the new podcast. I appreciate that. So of course, I'm going to plug my own stuff. If you don't know, I started a pinball podcast called The Flipside. You can, it's going to be a little hard if you're watching this on a phone, but that's the barcode right there that you can scan. If you scan that barcode, it will take you to the Flipside YouTube channel. But I've expanded my horizons. This podcast is also available on traditional podcast platforms as well. So if you'd prefer to listen to it on like Spotify or something like that, you can hit this QR code and it will take you directly to Spotify. It is an Apple podcast too, but I think I was just lazy and didn't actually put the QR code for that. So I don't have that up there. But I do appreciate everyone that has supported the podcast because it's been fun. It's foreign to me, right? The one thing I'm not liking about the podcast platforms is that there isn't like a feedback mechanism. So when we're here and we're chatting, we can talk to each other and I can answer questions and things like that. And I can ask you guys questions. But in the podcast platform, it's very one directional. I guess that's the one thing that I kind of miss. And I miss that about live streaming because it's live streaming is that two-way street where, the podcast, it's kind of a one-way thing. I am going to Southern Fried. So yeah, I will see you, Brian, at Southern Fried if you're going to be there. So cool. I appreciate that. All right. What do we got here? The neon, blah, 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 blah. The great retro Ralph. The reason I started playing retro side scrollers again. I don't know if the neon reason. I don't know what word you were looking for there, but hey, that's awesome, man. If I can inspire someone to do something, that is kick ass. All right, jokes aside, hope all is well over there. Yeah, man, things are going well. But I'll go back to what I was originally saying, that I actually sold off a bunch of arcade games, but it was mainly because I kind of saw where things were headed for me. And it all started almost 3 years ago at my first, I can't remember if this is going to be my third or fourth Pinball Expo. I think it's my third. I'm trying to think. So the first Pinball Expo I went to, Godzilla was launched. The second Pinball Expo I went to, was it James Bond? And then last year would have been Venom. So this will be my fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like I can't count. I'm 1, 2. Wow. Yeah. My fourth Pinball Expo. Wow, Ralph. Okay. I can count. Stringer Films. What the heck? I only did this. The main motivation of doing this is just so I could get $2 from this guy. That's the only reason. I just want his money so bad. No, thank you, Stringer Films, for the $2 super chat. I appreciate you, man. Rich Odello, what's up, dude? How are you, man? VC, I see this guy everywhere. If I'm in town, I was at a Cardinals game last season, and he was like right behind me. It was super cool. We went to a lot of Cardinals games last year. It was a very sad experience last year. But this year, man, we got it. I know you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, so you don't care, but I do. I care about the Cardinals. I want to see the Cardinals do well. Electric Starship Arcade, what's up, dude? Thank you for kind of putting me in your video that you did of the. So go check out this guy. He is very positive. I really love this guy's channel. Really cool how I don't know if you're still doing this, but a couple of the first videos I saw, you and your daughter were restoring, I want to say it was a Burger Time. I could be wrong. I can't remember maybe what arcade it was, but it's really cool. You were involving your daughter and she was helping you out, which I thought was cool. But they just recently did a video where they were rolling through town. I think they went to Sedona on some family vacation time or something. And they stopped at Castles and Coasters and did a video. So it was pretty cool. All right, let me see what else is going on in the chat before I just go on my tangent of ranting. Oh, that's cool, man. You're working at a local radio station. That's awesome. All right, what's I'm gonna make sure I want to make sure I don't miss anything here. It's a little bit, this new interface is a little bit weird. It's not like telling me when there's super chats. So if you're wearing pants, I'm gonna need my $2 back. I am absolutely wearing pants. I don't know what it is, your obsession about me. Stringer has this thing about me not wearing shorts. I have worn shorts in front of him before, but he has this thing where he kind of obsesses about something and then he just says it over and over again. So so yeah. Chad, what's up, man? Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. So as I was saying, I sold off a lot of arcade games, and I want to say at the peak I had something like, it had to be close to or over 40, and I was trying to add up how many have come and gone. So how many I've sold, because in the beginning, we're gonna rewind a little bit. I know I made that video that says I'm not a collector. I truly never intended to be an arcade collector of anything. What my intention was is that I would acquire arcade games because I'm a curious guy. I like to tinker with stuff. So my thought was, hey, I'll acquire games that I appreciated or liked as in my childhood, but I'll try to get them at a cheaper cost and I'll fix them up, learn about that architecture, right? If it's Konami, I'll learn about Konami. If it's Midway, I'll learn about Midway, whoever it was. And then I would sell them off. That was the idea. And that was fine. I'd get my fill of that game, and then I'd move it on to someone else. And that didn't really happen because I kept acquiring and acquiring and acquiring. And I actually see a lot of people do this. They get kind of out of control with the acquisition of the games. And then all of a sudden you've got this huge collection. Now, the thing that happened to me that I would say if someone was looking to get into this hobby, arcade or pinball, whether it be new, old, whatever, you just got to like be real about the amount of space you have and the amount of time it can take you to fix games if you're actually acquiring broken ones, right? Or ones that need, cosmetics and things like that, because it just takes a long time. What is this? Is this a president? No. Hey, Mike, what's up, man? Moat is in the house. I never call you Mike. That's weird. I always call you just like Moat. But Mike of All Trades is in the house. So hey, bud, nice to see you, man. No political things. I made this thumb, or Mason made this thumbnail like forever ago. I probably had some intention of what I was going to cover during that live stream, but I don't really remember what it is. Extreme Gaming Cabinets is in the house. The shooter is great, man. It's getting a little tight to play though because there's too many pinball machines in the way, to be honest. Okay, more super chats from Stringer. Shorts or assless chaps are not the same thing. Well, all of my pants are assless, so you're just gonna have to deal with that. So, anyways, as I was saying, no voicemails today. I got to get that back running. I don't even know if I have a license for that anymore because I was paying for that. Oh, look, you tried John Wick. Nice, man. DK Mikey said I tried John Wick. So I'll for 2 seconds I'll break out and talk about John Wick real quick because I think it's interesting. I was telling Kim about this. So Kim the other day came to me unsolicited and just said, "Hey, want to play pinball?" And of course I was going to take her up on that because I finally rearranged the room the way I wanted. I have 4 pinball machines in there and it's great. And so I was like, "Well, what do you want to play?" And I gave her the option, but then I kind of was just like, you know what? Let's play Godzilla. And she loved it. She absolutely had a great time. And I really think that anybody, no matter whether you've never played pinball or haven't played pinball for 20 years or whatever it is, or 30 years, if you play Godzilla, you're going to have a good time. It's a great pinball machine to play, whether you play or don't, because it's just fun from the start, even if you're not great at it. So you can kind of hack around it and still have a good time. But I got a chance to kind of teach her a little bit. So we kind of went from there to Venom. And from Venom, she wanted to play John Wick because she's like, oh, it's so pretty. Like it really is a very beautiful, the way they made that machine is really pretty. Just like the whole play field is gorgeous, in my opinion. I mean, artwork is subjective. So some people like it, some people don't. But she's like, man, this game is hard. And it is. It's not a kind of game I would recommend to someone that's like a novice. And I'm intermediate, I'd say at this point. I'd say I'm at an intermediate stage. I'm definitely not novice anymore. It's a hard game. It's a hard game to crack. You start, my highest score on the Pro was like 165 million or something like that. And on the limited edition I haven't cracked 100 million. It's like 99 million. It's a low scoring game to begin with. Some games are like that, but it's a very difficult game where the shots are kind of tight and it just takes some practice. So I think it'd be frustrating if someone was going to buy a pinball machine and their first one was John Wick, I think they would actually struggle with it. I think they might not enjoy it that much. I'd say it's a game that's it takes a little bit more skill. So you could buy it with the thought you're going to get better. But if your thought is I'm casual player and I just want to get better over time, it might not be the most fun one for you to begin with. So might want to check it out on location first if it was one you were thinking about buying. So yeah, let's see what else we got here in the chat. All right. Sonic GT73 said, I hit Galloping Ghost Pinball recently, and while I suck at pinball, I was having fun playing with them. Yeah, man, they don't have a big area. He's talking about Galloping Ghost Pinball. So if you go to Galloping Ghost, there's the standard arcade, and then you go a couple blocks down the street, and they have a pinball location. It's newer, but he's got a lot of great games in there. There's not a lot, but the ones that are there are really good. He's got some unique things too. He's got like there's for those of you who don't know, there's a joust. This is really cool actually. I've seen these at a couple shows, but it's a joust head to head where you're like hitting the pinball back over across to someone else. It's really cool actually. It's a fun one if you've never played it before. Yeah, see, Conti knows. Conti says John Wick is tight and fast. It is. It is very tight. It's very fast. I can already see Stringer's wheels spinning. What dirty joke can I put in the chat? But yeah. So anyways, so what I was trying to say about selling off some stuff, a lot of that was to fund where I felt like my interests were at that time, because I feel like it was. I'll tell you the story if you haven't heard it already, but the first Pinball Expo I went to, keep in mind at that point I was enamored with all things arcade. We had just finished, I think Arcade Pickers had just ended. I had just started, or maybe was starting, Chasing Nostalgia. I'm going all over the country, finding all these cool collections, really into restorations. I got machines coming out of my ass. There's literally arcade games everywhere. I mean, there was arcade games in storage. There was parts everywhere. There was monitors. It was just I was all in. I was as all in as you possibly could get on arcade gaming. It was probably the close to the pinnacle of you'd go into the garage, you couldn't even move. It wasn't as functional of a space, but there was a lot of games in there. A lot of broken ones too. But when I went, we were sitting at a table, and it was me, Jeff Oler, a.k.a. Arcade Hollywood, Todd Tuckey, and I can't remember who said it, but someone said, you realize where this is going to lead you. Like, you realize that this event is going to be the downfall of your arcade collecting. Like, you're going to get into pinball. And to me, I wasn't really like, it was one of those things, like, I enjoyed pinball when I had played it as in my childhood, like, but I didn't. It was just something that didn't stick with me as much, because my arcade I used to go to, the Dream Machine, it was in Lincoln, Rhode Island. While there probably was a very small selection of pinball there, that wasn't what we did when we went there. We played arcade games. And that's kind of what was really there. The bulk of it was arcade games. So I just never really had a lot of time. Like, pinball there's definitely probably people that are very nostalgic for pinball. I wasn't nostalgic for pinball. So this all kind of happened after this first expo trip. And there's a clip from that first expo trip where I say, man, pinball's fun. I think I want to buy a pinball machine. And it was downhill from there, or uphill, depending on how you want to look at it. But it was like from there, I couldn't stop. It was like, wow, this is really fun. But I'd say it wasn't immediate though. It was a little weird at first. It was rocky. Like, I got a Jurassic Park, but I didn't appreciate it because I was too novice of a player. Then I was like, oh, no, I need a Stranger Things. So I traded the Jurassic Park for a Stranger Things. And I really liked Stranger Things. I mean, Stranger Things is kind of simple. You've got your two ramps and you got the Demogorgon thing in the middle. So it's like, it's kind of easy to figure out. The game is actually somewhat hard though. It's not like a super easy game, but it was like, the idea of like how to start a mode and do all that was pretty simple for me at the time. So that was better, I think, than Jurassic Park. Do I regret selling Jurassic Park? Yes, because now I think I'd appreciate it a lot more now that I understand how to play and I'm not just like whacking the flippers. You know what I mean? So anyway, so I sold off a lot of these arcade games. The whole thing happened at that one Pinball Expo, and then it's kind of gone from there. It's not that this is where I feel like it gets weird. People like to create their own stories for you, right? So there were times where I said, that I've said in the past, like, hey, I've been spending more time playing pinball and I haven't really been playing with my arcade games as much. And then I get like comments here and there that'll say like, oh, he's abandoning arcade games. He hates arcade games. He doesn't like them anymore. And it's like, no, you could like both of these things. But I will be honest with you. I spent a lot of time just repairing my arcade games. So I did a lot less playing and a lot more time fixing. Now at this point, the collection's somewhat mature and every monitor has been gone through, every, connector has been fixed. And, if it's controls, the controls are all new or updated or cleaned, whatever. If it's an old button, you clean it up, throw it back in there, stuff like that. So I don't have as many of those problems anymore, but there was a period of time where I was like, man, all I'm doing is fixing things, like monitors are breaking. And that's the reality of the hobby. And no matter whether you are buying old pinball machines or old arcade games, like that's the thing that you just have to know that what you're buying is old and it could break when you move it from one side of your room to the other. That's just how it goes. So I kind of feel like if you get into that hobby, you have to enjoy that part of it. Or you have to know someone and be okay paying someone else to fix your stuff. So like, that's just the reality of it. But that doesn't, to me, depending on your personality type, that actually makes it really fun to do the fixing. Cause it's that, you get this joy, that when you've done something or fixed something, it's just like a home improvement project at home, right? Maybe you haven't ever tackled something before, like, I don't know, replacing a ceiling fan. And then all of a sudden you learn how to do it. And you look back at it, you're like, man, I did that. And it's like this sense of pride. Same thing comes with arcade games. It's just, yeah, he's joking. This is my buddy Nick, you're abandoning us again. How dare you cover what you're into? Yeah, I mean, it's natural that the channel will probably have less and less arcade-related things. If I find something new that I'm interested in or something like that, I will. I mean, I just picked up the Paperboy. That was pretty awesome. Actually, Nick helped me find that, which was really cool. Thank you for that, by the way. All right, so Noob San Reviews says John Wick is a great pinball machine to play when you're mourning a pet. oh yeah, I know. No, it's not. It would be not a great game to play, right? Yeah. By the way, okay, Kim has never seen John Wick. If she knew that a dog died in John Wick, she probably wouldn't even she'd probably tell me to sell the pinball machine. We're both very big animal lovers, like hardcore animal lovers. But if something bad, if there's a news story and something bad happens to an animal, I straight do not tell her because she gets really upset at that kind of stuff. So anyways, she doesn't know or has never seen John Wick. So I kind of want to keep it that way. So if you guys could keep the dog thing quiet on the DL, then that would be great. So I'm assuming Electric Starship, tell me about it. Things are always breaking. I just find I get fascinated by one thing that I see a lot, where someone will be like, I'm buying my first arcade game. I'm super excited. And then it breaks and they get immediately discouraged. All I can say about that is if that is going to be discouraging to you, then probably don't either one, go into it going, hey, look, it broke. There's many people in the community that can help me fix it. And then kind of try to see if it's for you, right? Try to fix it and see if it's for you. If it's not, and you know that immediately, this is such a headache, oh my gosh, because I've seen people buy arcade games, get super triggered that it broke, and be like, get this thing out of here, never again, blah, blah, blah. But that's fine. It's just, you got to be realistic that that's a part of the hobby. Even these new Stern machines I've had node boards break, and it's the first time I picked up that pinball machine, man, when I looked underneath it, I was like, what in the hell is going on down here? There's 80 billion wires. There's lights and shit everywhere. I was like, I can't do this. But then I said the same thing with arcade games, and you just have to get over the hump. Anybody can do this. There's anybody here can figure it out. It's not that complicated. It's just getting over the fear factor. And once you do, you're good. MGK, what's up, man? I see your message, but I got to get this one off, and then I'll put yours up here. But Ezekiel says, I wasn't into pinball until I went to Pinball Expo last year. Now I am, but I do still prefer arcades. See, that's different strokes for different folks. But when I do open my arcade, I will definitely have pinballs. I think you should, man. I think that would be smart. I think people, especially in your area, he's around the Chicagoland area. It's a mecca. You've got every major pinball manufacturer in your backyard. You got American, you got Jersey Jack, you got Stern Pinball. They're all right there, so that's pretty cool. I don't define any of this. So I know you're joking, but I don't. I'm not gonna. I'm. Blah, 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 blah. All I'm going to say here is that my channel was kind of a smorgasbord. I don't even know what you say. Even though I started it with arcades, I got arcade gaming. I always had other stuff on the channel. There was always console content weaved in and stuff like that. So I've tried to, at least from the start of this, try to do the things I'm passionate about as the content. I will say this though. And those of you that are in the chat that are content creators, this will resonate with you. There's a certain pressure that comes from YouTube. And it only took me, it took me like 4 years. I'm past 5-year mark now. I would almost say it took me 4 years in to be okay with ignoring the pressure. And the pressure doesn't come from the viewers. The pressure doesn't come from you guys. The pressure comes from you log into YouTube and it likes to tell you, hey, your views are down. Hey, less people are watching this video. It's like, it can be very discouraging because you can have a bunch of videos that do well, but it also starts to, in the beginning for me, it started to pave the direction I'm going. Oh, people like this. But it's like now the thing you're doing is less about your interests and more about what the algorithm is going to push because it sees there's a lot of people interested in this topic. And I got off track a bunch of times where I went down a certain path and I was like, this isn't really what I'm 100% into. I've never covered anything I didn't like completely, but I definitely covered things at some point during this channel's existence where I was like less interested in it, man. And I lost my, maybe it didn't lose my way, but I definitely saw like, I don't want to be about making stuff for the sake of making stuff or making stuff because someone offered me a free product. Like, been there, done that. It's so much nicer. And I've still done it in recent times too, but very strategically. But when you take everything in, you're just doing content. Like, I can't tell you how many emails I get that are like, check out this LCD like desk monitor thing or like some weird LED lit computer chair, and you're like, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, sure, you can get it for free, but number one, no one's going to watch that video on your channel. No one. Like, it's going to get 200 views. No one cares. It's a shocking to me that those companies will actually send you crap knowing that no one's going to watch it. And maybe 1 or 2 people buy the stupid thing. It's just not worth it, in my opinion. Having control of your own destiny is worth it. And let's be honest, no one's getting famous doing this, so you might as well just do the things you love to do. Ignore the things that YouTube is telling you about how much you suck all the time, and just have fun with it. That would be my advice to someone that's new. Sorry, JJ. I know that had no idea. I just kind of took your comment and went down a rabbit hole with it. But Strayer Film says, I just texted Kim about the dog. Dude, no! I told you not to. You better not. I swear to you, she will be very upset. Don't. Tell her the sequel is all dogs gonna happen. Sometimes, man, you come up with some pretty good funny ones there. Where's MGK? There he is. Hey, man, I hope you're going to Southern Fried Gaming Expo. I'd love to see you there. And if anybody else is going, I love Brian. You are so. I love you, bud, but you are the most negative dude I've ever met in my life. You never say anything positive, ever. Your lead comment is always something negative. Always. You'll never lead with a positive comment. I've had small things break. I would not say it's due to poor quality. I mean, maybe a couple things. There's been a couple node board issues that you could argue are because maybe QA isn't as good as it used to be, but they've replaced the board, so no big deal. I mean, I love you, man, but you are so negative. Oh my gosh, you're so negative. It's like you thrive on it. It's weird. Joey, what's up? Thanks for the $1 super chat, but you didn't say anything. Definitely say something. Oh boy, my buddy Super Dimensional trying to stir the pot. I hear Arcade 1-Up is making a comeback in 2025 after the elections. If Trump wins, they're going to make home arcade rooms great again. I kid. Yeah, we could talk about that for a second. I mean, people are going to get mad at me, but I really don't care. This is my opinion of it. I think it amazes me. It shocks me, actually. So it's going back to JJ's comment. When I started the channel, I did other things. It wasn't just arcade. There were other things weaved in. As a matter of fact, there's a time period where my buddy Chris was making content for the channel too, completely unrelated. He was making like console-based content for Retro Ralph. It didn't do as well as the core content, but my thought at the time was I wanted to get other people that had other expertise outside of arcade so we could feed the channel. Now, I know that's kind of self-serving for me, because like what would be their motivation? But Chris was a friend and wanted to help out. And I was hoping that I could get other people that were interested and they would like bring more content to the channel because I'm only one person and I was more focused on arcade gaming, even though I did do some console stuff. But I always felt from the start that Arcade 1-Up or any of these companies, they were a piece of retro gaming. Retro gaming is a huge, gigantic category. It amazes me that in 2024, there are still people creating entire channels based on a single product. It's just a weird thing to me. It's a piece of retro gaming. It's fine if someone wants to create a whole channel on it. I just think that's strange because there's so much more. It's so much more of a broad topic, and you can talk about, if you broaden yourself, you can now talk about other interests in the retro game community or hobby, and not pigeonhole yourself into one thing. And honestly, I don't feel like if Arcade 1-Up is the horse you're hitching onto, I think that one is probably, it's very obvious to me at least that one is it's a failing. It's going downhill fast. Will it continue to exist? Maybe, but I think the things that they'll create are just things that are just run of the mill basic stuff to get them revenue and not take any risks. The thing we don't know about that company is I really don't know how well they were with money management. They were doing a lot of crazy marketing events, the Jabberwockies, Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? They were doing all this stuff. They had specific NFL stars they tapped into for NFL Blitz. They were spending a lot of money. And I think they were spending that money as if COVID spending was going to continue. They had a couple of turds that didn't hit. And I think someone was looking at the books going, holy crap, like we're not very financially sound. And I think that's why they are in the position they're in now. So, and I think the glory days are kind of behind them because they put out a lot of the titles that people really loved and that had mass appeal really early on in their infancy as a company. At this point, I don't know. Like maybe there'll be enough casual people into it. I mean, to keep it up, I don't know. But I don't see them making any kind of comeback. I think that's pretty obvious. All right, Electric Starship Arcade says the pinball area is the busiest part of arcade, then shooting or driving games, then fighting. That's really interesting because a buddy of mine that helps out at Cobra Arcade Bar in Tucson, Arizona, says that very same thing, that it's the two busiest titles or the types of games are pinball and shooting. They don't have a ton of driving, but I would imagine that would probably be right up there too. So yeah, that's very interesting. I'd love to. We need to collaborate at some point. I feel like you and I would really have fun doing that. So maybe if you're open to it one time, that would be fun. I never wanted to be, really. I think I got pigeonholed into it, but I never really wanted to be Mr. 1-Up. That's for sure. Yeah, I know. Brad, what's up, man? I hope things are going well for you. I know you're going through some things, so I hope things are well. But yeah, satisfying the algorithm can be consuming. I think the thing is, you feel very free when you become more independent and just saying like, look, you know what? I'm going to do the things I want to do and I'm going to ignore that. It's very hard. Trust me. Do I still sometimes obsess about it every now and then? I go back to my old ways, but for the most part, I think I've gotten to a point where I'm more healthy with it. And I'm just like, look, I just want to make the things I want to make. And if less people are into that, like I know pinball's interesting. I love it. I think people assume that you have to own one at home to enjoy it. I'm trying to encourage people to go on Pinball Map, go out. I joined a tournament. I'm having a fun time. If you listen to the latest Flipside podcast, I had Kim on, and we talked about me going to tournaments. I've met some really cool people. I'm out of the house. You know what I mean? I can socialize with real human beings. You know what I mean? It's very cool. Rudy came with me. He's having so much fun with it. So he sent me a text, right? It made my day. The next day he sent me a text, and I don't have it with me, but it was basically like, thank you so much for getting me out of the house, basically, and I had a really good time. That's why I want to encourage people to do it. It isn't even sometimes about the pinball. It's about the social element of it, right? Like if you think about when I was streaming a lot on this channel, holy shit, where we were inside doing nothing because we thought the world was ending outside. And I think a lot of us got really comfortable with that. I know I did. I got really comfortable. It's actually, this is real talk right here. It's challenging for me now still to be in a social setting again. I get nervous. I get uncomfortable. I get anxiety, which is so weird because that is not at all how I was prior to the pandemic. That I'm trying to get over that still. And I think a lot of that is I got so comfortable in my personal space, just keeping to myself. And it was like, cool. All I interact with is me and Kim, and that's it. And the kids, and that's it. And it's like, so that's real talk, man. I think getting out is a good thing. And I also think that is going to contribute a little bit to some of the sales of some of these products because people don't want to sit at home. They want to go out, or maybe they don't even know they want to go out, but they do. They want to get out of their house. So I'm a big supporter of home arcades and putting arcade games, whether you buy them DIY, the one-up stuff, at game, whatever it is, whatever brand, company, or you buy real ones, whatever. I'm a big supporter of that, but I also am more of a supporter these days of getting out of your house. Go get out of your house, join these communities. Brad, I mean, I think you hopefully you don't mind me sharing you some of this personal stuff. If you do, just let me know. I'll stop. But, Brad's like, I think want to say he's like late 30s, early 40s. And unfortunately, he's going back into the dating world. And Brad, join a pinball tournament. Women play pinball. I'm just saying, maybe you could meet someone that way. And it's a pretty good chance that person's going to be nerdy and geeky like all of us. I'm just saying. So maybe that's a way that you can organically meet somebody. So, and if not, then it's just good to be around other people. And I'm sorry, hopefully you didn't mind me sharing that with you. And by the way, I'm sorry about everything that you went through. I went through that myself at one point, so I feel for you. Let's see. I'm living. I sent 3 one-ups cabs to their way to new homes today. MGK. Oh, all right. He's talking to someone else, but I'm guessing they're having another conversation. I get that nonsense too. It's all so bad. I just delete them all. I think he's talking about how people will just like form their own conversation based on what you say. Like, it's just part of YouTube. Like, you'd be on YouTube. Like, I had a guy the other day. He's like, you know what? The retro shooter is not a budget option. And I was like, okay. So now I'm like having to go explain to him what I was saying in the video. I was like, well, look, I realize it's still expensive, but my video was about plug and play options. And what I said was that it was a plug and play option. He's like, no, it's not. I can hook up Wiimotes to my blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, you can, but that's not plug and play, right? Like, it was like, because he was trying to say you could use Wiimotes and then put them on a PC and use it that way. And I'm like, well, if you're talking about the Nintendo Wii, yeah, sure, that's plug and play and they have light gun games, but that's not what we're talking about. It's like crazy. It's craziness. People will just come up with their own stuff. So you just have to like, sometimes I respond. Most of the time, I really do try to respond because I want to see what people really mean. And maybe there's just like because I know maybe sometimes I'm not articulating myself right. I know that I'm not a master at that. Sometimes I say things that are goofy or wrong or whatever. But anyways, we got into this big argument. I'm like, please, for the love of God, just please make it stop. Like, let's just agree to disagree and move on. But woof, woof. That means where's your dog? My dog is safe downstairs. Hey, is the arcade workshop Tony? I don't know who that is. Is it Tony? I think it's you, isn't it? No, it's not Tony. It says Gabrielle. All right, well, Gabrielle, I'm sorry for confusing you with Tony, but Tony makes, the reason why it's confusing to me is the arcade workshop, because he makes control panels for classic arcade games and stuff. So now I feel dumb, because now I just said you were someone else that you're not. Oh, God, Brian, I speak the truth. I know people, blah, 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 Brian. You're so negative. Positive, Brian. Brian, I'm going to give you the biggest hug when I see you. I'm going to be like, Brian, I love you, Brian. I'm going to hug you so hard. I'm going to give you so much love when I see you at whatever show I see you at that you will have to say something positive right after. You'll be like, oh, this hug is too tight. I'll be like, no, Brian, this is the perfect hug. It's the perfect hug. All right. He's positive about being negative. I don't even know what that means. That's funny, though, Zero Hero. I haven't seen you in so long. Man, Zero Hero has been here from the start. What I love is that some of you guys have been here when the channel was so small that it's so cool that I remember the names. And I just think it's really funny that everyone still says, I think there are people that don't realize what this guy's name says. They're like, hey, Mike, like, I'm not going to say it. I just say Mike Hawk, but even then sounds bad. What's up, man? It's been a long time. All right, $2 super chat from Stringer Phillips. He says, MGK helped me with my basement test run last night. I don't know what that means. What test run? I don't know. Stringer. I'm still trying to figure out. I've been friends with Stringer for like 5 years. Half the time, I don't know what Stringer's talking about. Love the guy, but I don't know what he's saying. Most of the time. I need like a Stringer Films decoder ring to know what he's saying most of the time. Or his joke is so deep. It's really, like it's like deep tracks or something, and I don't even know it. And sometimes he's joking around about something I did, and he remembers it. He's just got like this steel trap mind. I don't have that. I forget what happened to me 5 minutes ago. So, oh man, all right. So Electric Starship Arcade came in. Okay, Nick, yes, rhythm games are huge. I take it back. Guitar Hero is the busiest game here, dude. Guitar Hero is always bumping when I go to it. Well, it's broken right now. I don't know when you were at. I might have been broken when you were at Castles and Coasters, but there was always a lot of people on Guitar Hero for sure. Nick, my buddy Nick, we've never really said give a congratulations to my buddy Nick. He has made his hobby and passion his job. He is the general manager of Starcade in Minnesota, which is huge. Like, congratulations, Nick. Like, that is the coolest thing. I didn't mean to do the air horn. That was supposed to be an applause. But seriously, like, that's a pretty cool ass thing when your passion can become, his worlds have collided in that way. And I'm really proud of him for that. I think it's pretty cool that he's been able to do that. And he does some of the best restoration work. He takes immense pride when he's doing in restoration. He's super anal, so it's always damn near perfect. It's hard to get any of these cabinets perfect, but because of their age, and sometimes they have some impurities that you just have a hard time fixing unless you like Bondo entire sides of cabinets sometimes. But he does such an amazing job. All right, hey, Papa Brad, what's up, buddy? How are you? Let's see. We just got my. See, I don't even know what that is. Is that the washer and dryer one? These rhythm games look so cool, but they're like wild looking. Let's see. Sorry, I'm way backed up on the comments here. Oh, what happened to your super chat? I'm so sorry. I guess it's shoot, where is it? Hold on, let me see if I can find it really quick. There's this thing doesn't show me. I've screwed up, like it doesn't show me where. Oh, there it is. Is this it? Sorry, brother. Here it is. Hey, Ralph, I have a Cops Laserdisc game I am working to get the monitor working. Question is, should the game get ripped for future generations? Is it not? I mean, that would be awesome. I don't know if it's not, or if it is or not, or it isn't. If it is or it isn't, but you know who's someone that you could go to with something like that is like go to Doc, like message Doc Mac on on Facebook and just be like, hey Doc, like any interest here? Can you help me? And he'll totally help with stuff like that. He loves if it's something that's rare or something like that. Let's see. Rudy Roundhouse is here, not to be confused with Reset Rudy, who we pretty sure is in the witness protection program at this point. So we don't know what happened to him, but we know Rudy is standing, and Reset Rudy is nowhere to be found, at least right now. I don't know what to do. All right, let's see what we got here. More from Brian. Are you going to be a guest at SFGE, Southern Fried Gamer? So if so, any panels? Yes, I am a guest this year again, and I do have a panel. I'm going to be talking about the current state and future state of arcade gaming and pinball. It's actually pretty fun. I did it at SoCal Gaming Expo. I do struggle to get attendance at that event for some reason. They usually put the panels that I'm a part of at like a really late time at night, which kind of sucks. So hopefully my time is going to be a little bit better. And it'll be easier. So Paperboy gives you extra points for breaking people's windows if you're not subscribers. Paperboy was the original Grand Theft Auto. That's awesome. Yeah, right? That's such a fun game, man. Oh my gosh, we got Don's Pinball Podcast in the house. So everyone say hi to Don. Don, I met him at the Stern Factory Tour. Really good guy, positive content creator, just a really, really good guy. I enjoy being around him. He's got great energy to him. And he does a podcast as well. Called We Are Pinball with this guy over in, I want to say he lives in the Netherlands, but I'm probably wrong. He sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know where he lives, though. His name is Genghis, I think. He's a really good dude. I've never met him, but he's a nice guy as well. Big into pinball, so it's fun to see meet some new people in that space. Yeah, let's do it, man. I'm way behind on these comments. Am I like, dude, I think I'm like 10 minutes behind. Hey, are you going to be? All right, man. Alan is going to be at Southern Fried Gaming Expo, so I'll see him. And if anybody here is in that area, go check out that show. That show is really fun to me for a lot of reasons. So Marco Specialties, represents Stern Pinball there. They usually put up a huge display of whatever the marquee game is of that period. So right now, I'm assuming they're going to have a huge John Wick display with a bunch of John Wicks, but they don't just bring the current games. They bring some of the older games too, usually newer. So I would imagine there's going to be some Jaws there. There'll probably be some Venom, some 007. There'll be some great games there. They always do a good job. And then the community there in the Atlanta area does an amazing job bringing games from their personal collection. So if you're looking for arcade gaming and pinball, the show is really awesome. It has live wrestling. They got I think they're going to do the Hot Pepper Challenge again this year. They do, they have, if you're into computers, like I was a nerd for computers when I was a kid. I loved computers. And Commodore 64 was like my jam back in the day. And they have this room that has all of these old computers. They had it was a couple years ago. Stringer will remember because he remembers everything. They had a Texas Instruments that I grew up on, and I remember playing this game called Hunt the Wampus. And I was like, you don't happen to have Hunt the Wampus, do you? And he's like, I got it right here. He's like, I got it right here. It actually sounded like he was a little Southern. I got it right here. And I was like, okay, let's play it. And then he even was like, let's break out the manual. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm playing Hunt the Wampus. This guy's over here. Stringer's filming with like a head cam. It was a moment. It was a fun moment. So you will have fun at that show. They also have table games too. So if you're into like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that, there's a lot of that too. And Don, I think aren't you picking up a pinball machine from there? Isn't it like which WWF game did they make? Because was it WWE when they made that game? I can't remember which one. I've played it before. It has like, it has that ring in the back. Like it's a cool, and then I think there's like slingshots in there if I remember right, or you control the slingshots. I can't remember. Like that's a cool game actually, so that'll be cool. I just said cool like 10 times, but it will be cool. All right, hold on. I got a super chat from Nick Madsen, $2 super chat. You missed Alejandro's super chat. I think I got it now. I'm just really behind, really behind. I'm sorry. I'm gonna skip through some of this because so hit me up when you're out at Player One Arcade. I'm super close, dude. If you want to come tomorrow and play in the tournament, the pinball tournament you won't be able to. You can be in it for one day. It's just it was a 6-week tournament, so it's already been going on for 2 weeks. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with that. Let's see what else. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit, so I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to get current here because you guys are ripping through the chat so fast that I can't even really. All right, let's see. Ralph, I saw you sold a pin last night at Captain's. Did you buy anything good this weekend at the auction? I try to sell and not buy more immediately. Because that's the problem. Like, I don't know if you guys are like that. You sell and you make some money and you're like, you already know what your next thing is going to be. I've been trying to be better about that because sometimes I make a really quick decision. But I did sell a bunch of arcade games last night. I might have sold a pinball machine. And right now, my current lineup is this. So in the house, there's the Extreme Gaming Cabinets Shooter Cab. There's Big Buck Hunter Reloaded. And then there's Godzilla, Venom, John Wick, and Jaws. So I got rid of Bond for Jaws. And I didn't want to. I fell in love with Bond. But one game had to go because I just got obsessed with Jaws. Kim and I watched the Jaws trailer it wasn't a trailer. It was like the making of Jaws. And it was like Keith Elwin talking about the game. And my wife was super into it. She's like, what's this? Like, what is going on? Like, who's this Keith Elwin guy? Like, this is freaking amazing. She's like, what, the designer and the music and the artwork and what the heck? And she was like all enamored. So I was getting pumped up. And then Nick has Jaws. So I'm like, Nick, dude, Kim's in love with Jaws. Get Jaws. I'm like, dude, you're being a bad influence. Get Jaws. It was like, boom, boom, boom. He was being a bad influence, by the way. But he's like, you got to get it. You got to get it. We can be Jaws buddies. And like, it kept going on and on. And then sure enough, I got Jaws. But I bet I'll buy Bond again. It's too good. Bond is too good, but I can only fit 4 pinball machines. I don't want my house. Man, I wish I could be like Jake has it made, man. Jake Danzig, local collector and content creator here in Arizona. I've never been to his house, but I really want to because he has like an adult playground hardcore in his house. It's pretty cool. Yeah, sorry, Jake. I decided to stream this in 2 locations, so I know it can probably be confusing with the comments. I probably won't do that again, but good to see you here. I appreciate it. Let's see. I'm trying to get more current. Let's see. You guys are like ripping through this stuff. All right. Paparazzi Tom. You were the reason I got into home arcade. I now have 11, one modded with a PC, What Up may be dead, but they let me live out my childhood dream. Dude, that's all good. Like, that's good. That is a good thing, right? I'm never going to discourage anybody from that. I think they're going to be, here's the thing. I'll redefine dead. I think because you probably remember this, Tom. In those early days, man, it was like banger title, banger title, banger title. And there was a frequency. It was happening all the time. Like, as soon as the hype would die down, the hype would build up again. And it was great. Like, that's what new companies do, right? Like, continue the hype, continue the hype. And so they were working on like the top 50 arcade games list, right? They were like, look, if we can get licenses for these things, they didn't get the whole top 50, but let's just say they were like, what are the ones that were the most popular, that made the most revenue in the arcades? And let's go after those, which was super smart because they knew the buyers at all these places would obviously have interest in a title that's like a big title that everybody knows. So I think the thing is, there aren't that many of those. If you really think about arcade games that are mainstream enough that you could go to any Tom, Dick, and Harry and say, do you know what this game is? And they know it. There's not that many of those. And I think once you start, unless you have some sort of direct-to-consumer model where you can sell limited quantities to your hardcore fans, then I think you get stuck in this rut that they're in, where in order to continue to generate revenue, they got to sell the same titles, the same popular titles, get the new people that have never bought the first round of them or the second or the third time they did it. And unfortunately, when you're struggling for cash and you can't invest money in a new license, they're going to start re-releasing a lot of the same things to hopefully get into the... I'm suggesting they're in the red. I don't know that because they're not a publicly traded company, but my guess is that they're not doing well financially at all. And so they're trying to put out titles. So anyways, long story short, I think the heyday is over, but hey, those machines you have are awesome. Good, continue to play and enjoy those, because just because the company is not doing anything that you enjoy, because that's kind of, I feel like for the people that were in on it early, I don't think they're going to do anything new and exciting for you, but the old stuff is still there. You know what I mean? And hopefully that my only fear is that company continues to support those systems to some fashion, because a lot of their, I've seen the failure rates on some of their PCBs are not very good. So anyways, that's all the one-up talk I got in me. Ralph was awesome at hump the Wampass. What? Hunt the Wampus. Wampus. I don't know what the hell any of that meant, but it was good. My Italian brother, what's up? He says, Ralph, looking lean and mean. Lean and mean. I would get up and show you my six-pack. I don't have a six-pack. I never have. Never had a six-pack in my life. I think there was a point in my life where I was working out a lot and I was eating good, and you could see like one little, and it was like at a specific angle, and I had to flex so hard that I was almost pooping my pants, and you could see one ab, and I was like, yeah, I got one ab. And then after that, it just never really happened for me, So it's just, it's a once in a lifetime thing. I had one ab for, 5 minutes in a certain lighting condition, in a certain mirror, in a certain angle. But I'll take it, man. It was the one time. So I can be like, remember that time I had one abdominal muscle? Hey, I had it. Just one. It is what it is. I don't know what to tell you. But I did want to talk a little bit more about, so I if you guys, I'll bring it up again. I know I'm going to be a little annoying here. I'm very excited about this. This is what I'm most excited about right now. I really want to try to get some of you guys. I know a lot of you here probably are like, I don't care about this. I don't care about pinball. But I'm trying to make a podcast that's appealing to someone that isn't like, well, someone that's a hardcore pinhead might still enjoy it, but the new person that they're feeling a little, I don't know, they're feeling like it's overwhelming to get into this hobby, or they have to pay, they think they have to buy one, or they just feel like, hey, I don't even really know how these machines work, because there's a lot of things. I was talking to my buddy Ian, who runs Nudge Magazine, today. It's a pinball focused magazine, and he's like, you'd be surprised how many people don't even know how to play multiple players on a pinball machine, right? You put in the credits and then you hit start. The amount of, obviously if you put in credits for 4 players, you hit the start button 4 times and that starts 4 players. There are people that don't know that, right? It's basic stuff, right? Or they don't know that how to nudge the ball. And you don't even need to know advanced pinball skills to play, but it's a little overwhelming at first. But once you get the hang of it and you start learning a little bit of the concepts and getting a little bit more advanced, it's super fun. And these pinball machines can be really deep too. They can be deep or they can be surface level. It just depends on how you want to play it. So let's see what else is in here. Sorry, I'm way behind. All right, Flipside will be great for when I'm mowing the lawn this summer. Dude, Jonathan, let's go. Let's do it, man. Listen to me while you're mowing the lawn. I love it. No, dude. Godzilla. That is one title. If you are not into pinball and this is new to you, go play Godzilla. It will blow your mind. You don't even need to be a Godzilla fan. It will blow your freaking mind. All right, so we got Multicade Matt says, you bring the information and humor and people will follow you on any given time. Thanks, man. You know, it is what it is, right? I knew when I went from topic to topic with the channel already, I would lose a lot of people, right? But I get really excited about the possibility. So if you never watched the movie, I hate saying it like this because it sounds like I'm trying to promote myself, but if you haven't watched Bob Rose's movie Token Taverns, right? If you haven't watched that movie, I urge you to watch it. It's about the rise of the bar arcade, right? Or the rebirth of the bar arcade, and how pinball and arcade games are at the center of that. But even though the arcade games are there, I think the center is really pinball. And the reason why, as I'll tell you, is that there's continued hype and excitement around pinball. Sorry, I'm a little gassy. Because new titles keep coming out. There's companies that have been manufacturing games since the beginning, right? That keep continuing to manufacture games. So there's always something fun and exciting to look forward to. Even though arcade games still exist, they exist in a dimension slightly different, right? I mean, I almost view that they've kind of like veered off into this other world where the way they played, even though some have throwbacks to the older style games, a lot of them are their own thing now. They've kind of morphed into slightly different things. And then it's sort of like attendantless VR is a thing. You've got redemption games, and then you've got like the games that Raw Thrills makes. Sega still makes games. LAI games. There's all these company making arcade games. They're different. I still have an appreciation for them. If you've never watched the videos, for 3 years in a row, I've gone to the Amusement Expo in Vegas. That's like the sister show to IAPA in Florida. I go there for a reason. I want to see what arcade games are coming out because I am still excited about the new arcade games. But the thing I see the biggest community rallied around is pinball. There's a big existing old and new people coming into it all the time where I don't see like huge fans for Raw Thrills games. You know what I mean? Even though I like the games, they are built a little disposable. They're a little disposable. And I think because of that, they don't become memorable to a lot of people. And then the next one comes out and they forget all about the older Raw Thrills games, you know, but there's a couple of standouts. Cruisin' Blast for me was a standout because they did the franchise proud, in my opinion. Some people might not agree with me, but they did the franchise proud. So there was a modern, even though that game's older now, there was a modern Raw Thrills racer that paid respect to the original title. That was cool. There aren't that many that do that kind of thing. Now, what's going on with Allen 1? Allen 1 down in Utah, they got the rights to do the Recharge series things. That's exciting. That's why I covered it on the channel. I think that's really cool. Then you got like the Indie Game. If you've never looked at the Indie Game Wave YouTube channel, he has, I can't remember if he's a developer himself, but there's a game that he developed, but he supports all the indie stuff. Things like, shoot, I can't think of the name of the game. It's like, it just escaped my mind. A Killer Queen. Games like Killer Queen. So there are modern games to be excited about, but they're a bit more disposable. And I'd say the real arcade culture, the thing that's propelling the arcade culture forward and why I'm so excited about pinball is because pinball is doing that. So if we can get more people into it, get more players into it, it's only going to help that industry. And I think it will really help keep arcade gaming alive. I really do. Because I view those two things are together. Go to any big place, maybe places like Dave & Buster's is sporadic whether they have pinball machines, but usually where there's pinball, there's arcade games. But usually pinball's front and center. It just is what it is. Yeah, you could say that, but that's what I mean. The replay factor, exactly. The replay factor. So I think they're less memorable. We need to get more bidet water games. Okay, see, this is what Stringer does. He's bringing up something that I do know what he's talking about, but there was a water game at Interium. Anyways, whatever. Anyways, thank you for the super chat, Stringer Films. Killer Queen is really fun. And actually, there's a game called Arabian Nights that Alan One made. If you don't know the Alan One guys, they were really popular because they made a really awesome replica yoke for Star Wars games. So if you owned an original Atari Star Wars and you needed a yoke replacement, their yoke was better than the original yoke. It is freaking phenomenal. So they were known for making like replacement parts for arcade games, but now they're getting into being publishers of games. So they're going to do the Recharge series. If it takes, knock on wood, hopefully those things do well and they sell well so they can continue to do that with Atari. I think Atari is trying to test the waters and see if they can get these Recharge games. And they tweak them a little bit. They're a little bit tweaked for arcade, but they're really fun, man. Really, really fun. Not really. I mean, so Erica's Pinball Journey, another great pinball content creator. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. She's great. I met her at the Stern Tour thing. I mean, there's Clav, which has databases of games that people have. There used to be a website that you could go see fighting games. Like I found there's a game that's kind of it was imported only, but Tatsunoko versus Capcom was a fighting game. And there used to be a website you could go to see like where certain games are at. I don't think there is one. There's not one that I know of that's like that anyone keeps current. So it's kind of unfortunate. It would be really cool if there was. If anybody knows of something, let me know. Hey, Constorm Entertainment, what's up, buddy? It's been a long time. I hope you're well. I haven't seen your... Man, this is what sucks about YouTube. I have not seen your... You've probably been publishing videos and they don't show up in my feed. It's like, I hate how YouTube has become this like... You can have all notifications turned on and you still won't get videos of content creators you want to see. It's crazy. Let's see what Brad says. The Allen One yoke saved my Atari stores. Dude, I know, man. Yeah, Brad. So Allen One is now licensed to put out arcade games for Atari, the Recharge series. So it's really cool. Go check that out on there. I think they have something about it. And then they have another game that they made called Avian Knights, and it's like a Joust. It's like a new version of Joust. It's badass. Like it's really cool. I don't know, Electric Starship, are you planning on getting any of those games in your arcade? Like they're really cool. Both of those games are cool. Yeah, so Brian's saying he has the Recharge games on his PC. They are similar games. They did do some things like if you ever play the Recharge games like Asteroids, when you hit, you die immediately. Like you're dead. That's it. It goes like wah, wah, and you're dead. So they actually coded the game. That was a weird noise. I don't think it makes that noise, but whatever. It makes some noise, and you're dead. They coded it to be a little bit more arcade friendly, so it's pretty cool. All right, let's see. There's one exactly like Pinball Map, but I guess it's smaller. Oh yeah, Ducklord. I don't know if you know what it is and can put it in the chat. Let me know. Third Floor Arcade with Jason. What's up, dude? He said, hope all is well, man. I can't ever remember where you live. I want to say you're in like Atlanta. I don't know why I thought you were in Atlanta, but anyways, if you are, it's probably hot and humid in your neck of the woods right now. And here it's hot and dry, but it's hot as hell. It's like 114 today or something insane. What do you think of the new NBA Superstars? When I played it, all right, I got a full discrepancy. When I played it, I got news. I was in Chicago for work, for my day job, and I got news that there was a Dave & Buster's in the area that had the game on test. So it was the only one, I think, that was out in the field. And the code it was on was like some earlier code. It had some screen tearing issues with it. But I did enjoy the game. The thing is, it's tough because if someone compares something to NBA Jam, you're automatically going to be like disappointed because NBA Jam was so memorable. There's so many cool things, but Tim Kittro is in it. His voice is in it, but he doesn't say things like he's on fire or boom shakalaka. And I don't know if those phrases or terms are like trademarked and someone else owns them. So I don't know why exactly they didn't do that because that would have been cool, but it's still really fun. Like I liked it. I had a good time with it, but people are really, I get why people are picky. They're like, hey, you messed with my old, you messed with my IP, whatever, if it's not the same. Can operators control the difficulty of pinball games or the number of balls you get per credit? You can control certain difficulty. Like you can control, so like if you plunge a ball and you launch the ball and let's say the ball drains immediately, there is a timer that's set for how long you'll get your ball back, right? You'll get a ball save. It's called ball save. But you can manipulate the settings of the ball save. I'd say most people, I don't know this for a fact, actually. I should ask my buddies over at Electric Bat, Kale and Rachel. I don't know if like operators adjust those to favor the house or not. I mean, pinball in general is kind of difficult for a casual player. So I don't know. I find they probably leave them mostly default. They definitely leave 3 balls as the default. I've never seen an arcade that has the game set to 5 balls unless you pay more. I don't know. Maybe someone like Erica, or if Jake is still here, he would know. I'm not sure. I really don't know. Let's see. NBA Superstars, a new Raw Thrills. Yeah, it's the new Raw Thrills game. I don't know if it's Raw Thrills and Play Mechanics. I think it is. I think exactly. I'm with you, man. I think that I think Eugene does a good job over there. I think people forget that like the CEO of that company is Eugene Jarvis. Like I do think part of him probably has to create games that he knows are going to work in a facility like a Dave & Buster's, right? The demographics different, but you know, he's created some games that I'd argue, you know, still get me excited. You know, that's a good point. You can adjust the pitch of the games, you know, to make them more aggressive, to make it play faster, for sure. I just don't know how many places actually do that. Like I noticed sometimes, like I went to play Bond at a place in Chicago and it played way faster than mine. So my guess is the pitch was more aggressive on that game. So it definitely was harder, but I adjusted to it after a while because the game played the same. It's just, it was so much faster. So like in Bond, when you hold the left flipper, you launch the ball goes around this orbit and there's a flipper up at the top and you can hit this shot that's almost like directly across from the flipper, not directly across. But the thing is your timing, if the ball's coming around a lot faster than it usually does or coming down faster, when you have to make that shot is different. So it just took me a little while. Like I had to play it a couple times. This is probably the most important question of the whole entire live stream is, what are your thoughts on Todd Tuckey's jorts? I mean, I'm a big jorts fan. Mason, who edits for the channel, he's a big jorts fan. Obviously, everyone is always commenting on the quality of his jorts and that they love his jorts. So we're big jorts fans here at the channel. All right, super chat from Noob San Reviews. I'm done with Arcade 1 Up 2. The Marvel vs. Capcom games are coming to the Switch. Yeah, a lot of people had said that. A lot of people had said, hey, a lot of the games that they wanted to play were coming to the Switch. So yeah, I can see that. So Erica commented, pinball machines do have the ability to change the difficulty. I know since I changed my Lord of the Rings setting. Yeah. So, I mean, there's definitely some settings you can set. I guess the question would be, do I know, like, do operators actually change them to favor the house? I don't know. Maybe some do. I could see that happening. Do you think X Arcadia would do better if they had them at Dave & Buster's, Chuck E. Cheese in round 1? Thank you for the super chat. That's an interesting question. So the people that don't know, Exa Arcadia is a cartridge-based platform for arcade gaming. They designed their cabinet to look very much color scheme-wise like a Neo Geo. The problem I think they have is a lot of their titles are not popular titles. Some of them were console games that they ported over. They're ones I didn't even know. There were like some fighting games and a couple of side-scrolling beat-em-ups that I guess were popular. I didn't know them. I think that's their biggest struggle is the titles they have. Think about it, right? When you go into like a Dave & Buster's and someone sees NBA Superstars, if that kid is a fan of basketball, they're going to see LeBron James. They're going to see like these players. I don't know why LeBron James is the only player I can think of right now, but you're going to see Giannis and these people. So they're going to be like, oh my gosh, I want to play this game. If you're a kid who likes basketball, if you looked at the X Arcadia, a lot of the games people just don't know. So I think that's their struggle. I don't know. Maybe they do better overseas. I just don't know how successful it is. I know Adam over at Arcade Heroes, he's got one in his arcade, and I think he says it does okay. But again, you're trying to get people to be interested in IPs they don't necessarily recognize, and I think that's the hardest thing. That's like kind of why you don't see many pinball manufacturers making original games. I think it would be hard to sell them, and I think it would be hard for them to do well on location. Like one that comes to mind, and I know people make fun of this company all the time, but American Pinball made this game, and this game may be great. I've never played it. They made a game. It's called Barrio's Barbecue Challenge. I guess Barrio was a game designer, and he passed away, unfortunately, and so they wanted to complete this game, which I think is admirable of the company to do that. But the game is called Barrio's Barbecue Challenge. So if you're someone that's a casual player, you probably don't know who Barry O is. So you're already starting from a deficiency. You're like, who the hell is Barry O? And you're like, well, I like barbecue, but I never really thought barbecue would be what I'd be interested in a pinball machine. So it's like things like that in this day and age, I think are tough. If you put Barry O's Barbecue Challenge right next to Jaws, what is that person? 9 times out of 10, the person's going to pick Jaws, right? They're not going to be like, dude, barbecue-based pinball, baby. That's what we're doing. Fire up the grill. Let's do it. Like, they're just not gonna. It's just the way it is. It's unfortunate, though. I think they have a good team of people over at American Pinball. I hope they end up doing. The rumor is that they have, shoot. Why can't I think of it? Come on. They have Masters of the Universe. If they have Masters of the Universe, come on now. Bump every other game that you were thinking of doing. Do Masters of the Universe. If you do that right, that should be a big seller, in my opinion, and that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Let's see. All right. Very rare. Oh, I think Jake is answering the question about, do owner operators kind of make the games more difficult or easier depending on. He said very rare anymore, but I have seen a few games in recent years set to 5 balls, such as PBR Can Crusher. Yeah, I mean, I'll say this: when I first got. It was funny. I'll tell you guys a story. So when I first got into pinball, like buying my own, I got my Jurassic Park. And I was like, I was going through the menu, the feature menu and everything, system settings. And I saw there was an option to increase how many balls you get. And before I did it, I messaged Carrie Hardy. I'm like, hey, Carrie, do people in the hobby think it's cool if you is it cool to play with 5 balls? And he made some super smart ass comment. It was funny. I wish I could remember what he said, but he's basically like, nah, bro, don't do that. Don't do it. And so from that moment, he tainted it. He made it I'm a big loser if I do it. So yeah. So even though I'm sure at home, if you're playing casually, you could totally do it, but I wouldn't expect to see any, on site that way. All right, I had a comment here from Sonic GT73. Eugene Jarvis Home Arcade is pretty awesome. I played him at Robotron. What? You played him at Robotron? You did? That's awesome, man. That is so cool. I met Eugene at Amusement Expo, and it was very cool. I told him that I owned a NARC cabinet, and he lost his mind. He's like, no way. You have a NARC cabinet in your house? He was so excited. So for those of you who don't know, he was the creator of that game. All right, Vic VP, what's up, man? He said planning to go to IAAPA. I don't go to IAAPA for this reason. Amusement Expo is 45-minute flight for me. Yes, it happens after IAAPA. I can't remember when IAAPA happens. Amusement Expo happens in March. It's basically a mini version of IAAPA without all the roller coasters and all that kind of stuff. So unfortunately, I get the stuff kind of after it's been out for a while. I did want to talk about something really quick before we let me see. Hey, Charlie Chuck, it's good to see you too, man. It's always good to see you. All right, let me see. Yeah, Conti, I know, man. I feel like XR Arcadia just doesn't get the love. I think it has to do with I really truly think it has to do with just the games. No one knows the games very well. All right, Hollywood Polo, what's up? He said, did you have a fun 4th weekend? What new games did you get during the Steam Summer Sale? I didn't get anything during the Steam Summer Sale, but I did I traded my Bond Pro with some cash for a Jaws premium pinball machine, and I played that almost all weekend. There's a fun 4th of July mode that you can actually play that's really fun. So that's what I did, and I hope you had a good 4th of July as well as all you guys. All right, so Stringer Film said, if I get you matching jorts, no. No, I won't wear them. No. But we love jorts on the channel. I'm not into wearing jorts, but nothing against jorts. If you're a jorts wearer, wear them and wear them proud. Wear them proud. All right, Vic said, yeah, I thought Barrio was a barbecue chef or someone like, yes, man. I didn't know. I had to look it up. But I when I read the story, I was sitting there being like, who the hell's Barrio? And then I felt really bad when I found out that Barrio is no longer alive and he was a pinball designer. So that kind of made me feel bad about it, really. But yeah, no, it was really cool that American Pinball did that. I just think for where that company is at right now, to come off Galactic Tank Force, which had a lot of issues, although I liked the game. I think the game is fun. Unfortunately, whenever you go play it on site somewhere, on location, a lot of times it's not working right or there's some issues with it. But when it is working, I find it fun, even with the issues that it does have. So, all right, I asked Electric Starship this question a while ago, but I'm way behind on chat. I would love to get Asteroids Recharged. I wish the indie arcade games were priced a bit lower. I know, man. I think that's always a thing. They were a little too close to buying a new Stern pin, which would get played way more. I know, and that's what makes me worried about these guys. I think they try to price them at a they don't have the economies of scale. Someone like Alan One that Stern has, so I think it's harder for them to get to that price point. But I feel you, man. I definitely know what you mean there. Oh, yeah, He-Man, thank you. Yeah, Masters of the Universe, He-Man. So, everyone's excited if they do have that license. All right, Alejandro said, sometimes I dream of Street Fighter 2 hyper fighting without days, like a survival version. Hey, man, you can make it, man. You make it. That's cool. Thank you for the super chat, man. Appreciate you. Alejandro, you still playing with the light gun stuff? You used to be like all over that. Anything light gun, you'd be all over it. They need to make a modern Rocky pinball. Dude, you know me. When you're Italian, that's instant. If you have any Italian bloodline in you, number one, you think Rocky's a real person. He is not an actor. He is not Sylvester Stallone. He is Rocky. He is a real person. So, number one, if you have Italian in your blood, automatic buy. Number two, if you're Italian, you believe Rocky is a real, actual human being and not an actor. So, there you go. He just happened to make movies about himself. And instant buy. I did want to talk about some of the latest rumors really quick. It must be a holiday. No, it's not a holiday. I just felt like I wanted to live stream. It's been a while. I want to do it more often, but it's so hard. My life has changed so much with my day job that it's so hard. It's even hard for me to publish regular YouTube content. It really is. Like, it's a struggle, man. I'm trying so hard to like keep up with it, and it's just difficult. It's just my day job has just been just too busy, and I just get tired, and then I don't want to do it. And you know, I used to just, in the early days of the channel, I would just force myself to do it despite how tired I was. And I just feel like it's worn me down a little bit, man. It's just tough. I'm lucky to get two published videos out a month these days. But hopefully, you know, it looks like everyone's continuing to watch the content, and that's all I can ask. I've had to maybe be a little creative with titles and thumbnails because the algorithm hasn't been very kind. As I've scaled back, I think it's become harder to get people to watch. And I always say this and people misunderstand what I'm saying. I don't care about the view for the ad revenue, because the ad revenue is so minuscule. It's nothing. And when you have a channel that's sub 100,000 subscribers and you're not getting 50,000 views per video, the money is minuscule. It's nothing. It just about puts money back for all the things it takes to produce the content in general. So it's a break even at that point. But when I say the views, I just have always been one that really wants as many people as possible to watch the content, because I just enjoy entertaining people. Like, it's just something that's my main motivator. I enjoy making people happy, trying to be a positive person in the hobby, and just sort of like having fun. And hopefully that comes through in the videos and the live streams and the podcasts and all that stuff. And when something happens where I mislabel a video or I do a crappy thumbnail, Mason, not that Mason makes a crappy thumbnail. If I pick one that I come up with the idea, because usually I say I want it to say this, I kind of want it to look like this, and then he makes it based on what I say, right? Sometimes he takes creative liberties, but let's say I pick wrong, and I just come up with a bad title or a bad thumbnail. When you only make 2 videos a month, it's kind of a bummer if one is a turd. It just sucks. And sometimes the video is a turd, right? Like, sometimes I just put out something that not many people care about. That's fine. But when you know it's a topic of interest and it gets squashed by the algorithm, it's just a bummer. That's be a bummer for anybody, right? If you were a musician and you showed up for a gig and 2 people were in the audience, you'd probably still be stoked to play for 2 people, but you'd probably love it if 100 people showed up. You know what I mean? It's kind of one of those things. So hopefully that doesn't sound like I'm being a jerk, or I just really want more people to watch, as many people as they possibly can. Have I ever heard of GameWorks Seattle? Well, Sega GameWorks, is no longer in existence. So I don't know if this is like someone bought it and kept the name, because here the GameWorks that's here in Tempe, Arizona, turned into a Tilt Studios, and they kept a lot of the games from Sega GameWorks. So a lot of their games, they have some really cool old rare, like if you're ever in town coming through Arizona or coming through Phoenix, Tilt Studios has a great selection of pinball machines, and they have some really old cool arcade games that they kept around from the GameWorks days. From my knowledge, GameWorks didn't exist anymore, so maybe they were able to keep the name. I'm not really sure. So that's kind of interesting, Ducklord777. All right, I'm here to tell everyone that I think Beetlejuice was made to be a pinball machine. You have to say Beetlejuice 3 times for multi-ball. Dude, I could get behind a Beetlejuice. There's so many cool games that I think could be, like, there's so many good like IPs that could be pinball machines that haven't been yet. So I think the problem is going to be mass appeal is going to be the problem. Is like you have to try to find one that's mass appeal. Chris Cool Mod, what's up? How you doing, buddy? I haven't talked to you in a while. I gotta weave in some light gun content. It's been a while, but I will eventually. I think the BlamCon project's going to be my next video if I can get the gun from those guys. I haven't for a while. So he said, Chris Coolmod says, hippo character with stars. Oh, wait, is that just an emoji? Pumping his arms in the air and the word hype pulsating above him. What? I think that's supposed to be like, I guess it's just not. That sucks. So I think that's a description of like a meme or something that's supposed to play. Well, I'm sorry. I guess this software doesn't support that. That sucks, man. But thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it, Chris. Chris, for those of you who don't know, he makes a plug-and-play light gun drive that supports your Sinden light gun. It supports Gun for IR. It doesn't support Sinden. It supports Gun for IR. At least it didn't support Sinden. It supports Gun for IR and Retro Shooter, and it will support BlamCon when that comes out. So if you're looking for light gun drive, my two favorite guys to do that with are Chris Coolmod and I'm having a brain fart. My buddy Integrum Retro. Those two guys. All right. Let's see what else we got here. I'm kind of fading, guys. I'm getting a little tired here. Let's see. Let's see what you do bring me energy though. Are there any more chasing nostalgias in the work? Wayne, I like this question. It's almost as if you knew that maybe there is a chasing nostalgia in the works. So if everything works out, I'm going to try. Do you realize, crazy stat, there has not been a Chasing Nostalgia episode in 2 years. That's crazy to me. We're getting old. How the hell has 2 years gone by since the last Chasing Nostalgia? How is that even possible? But anyways, Wayne, I can't guarantee it, but supposedly what my plan is, this is the plan. Now there's no guarantees if this works out, but this is the plan. Mason and I are going somewhere in September to film Chasing Nostalgia. It's all kind of booked. I haven't booked like flights and stuff yet, but it's the plan is solidified. If that all works out, my thought is I get the episode out before Pinball Expo, because it would be really cool to get the episode out before Pinball Expo. That's why I'm like, wait, where are we going with this? So anyway, I hope so. We're trying. So yeah, no, it should be fun. All right, Eric is saying, we're talking thumbnails. When it comes to thumbnails, I have gone back and forth and changed some of mine after initial release and got a new fresh view. I know, that's a thing. You can do that. You can save dead videos. It's pretty cool. You can. I've done it before. You can change a thumbnail and the scraper, the algorithm scraper comes along and says, ooh, Erica changed it. This one's a little bit more favorable. And then, it doesn't do, I don't know what this is. But it does something like that. But yeah, I've done that too. I've been able to save a video. It's pretty cool. Jake, see how I told you, he's got a playground over there. He's like, I need a light gun that works on like a 2,000 foot screen. I don't know, Jake. That was a tough one for me. Maybe would Sinden? I don't know. Like, I guess if you can draw a big ass white border, it would probably work. I don't know though. That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe one of the light gun guys. Like, I bet someone like JB over at the Gun for IR guys would maybe know. I don't know. That's a good question. Of course, you would have like the biggest screen on the planet. Oh, that's awesome, man. Thank you, dude. I love that. I love filming it. It's just, I'll be real with you on this. Not that I'm not on everything else, but it's just really expensive to film it. And that's kind of why I've scaled back on it. I would do more of them if I could. And it's time. Chris, dude, thank you. You don't need to do that, but I appreciate you very much. You didn't even say anything either, but thank you, Chris. I really do appreciate that a lot. When do we get to see the return of Dutch? For those of you who don't know, Dutch is my alter ego when I play a racing game, and Dutch always fails at the end of the race. He's in first place. It's looking good. He's in the final turn, and he hits the wall. It happens every time. So Dutch also appears in Pinball a lot of time. Dutch, a.k.a. Retro Ralph, will have a really great first ball. He may even have a really great second ball. Things are going great. He's like, this is going to be I'm going to be grand champion. It's happening. And then it all falls off the rails. That's Dutch. And for those of you who don't know, that's Dutch. All right, so let's see. I got a super chat from Stringer. He says, thank you, by the way. He says, I'm thinking about bringing a camera to Southern Fried and Expo. Really? Like you wouldn't bring a camera. You had a camera strapped to your head the whole time last year, and I had a microphone strapped to me the whole entire time. Yeah. Oh, actually, this would be a good place for you to go, Jake. If you can go to JB has is in the Gun for IR Discord. That'd be a good question for him. I don't know how the hell you do Gun for IR with a screen that big though, because you need sensors. I don't know. I mean, I get it might work. I don't know. I don't know if it's been tested on a screen that big. So, anyways, dude, actually, how freaking epic! This was Nick's idea. This is Nick's idea, not mine. What do you guys think? I'm just throwing it out there. Would you buy or want to play? Maybe just say want to play. Would you want to play a Cobra Kai pinball machine? Yes or no? I think that could be epic. And think about it. If you timed it with the last season, I think it's screwed now because then it's going to get like, oh man, that would be so good. And the other thing I think they should do is they should update Stranger Things. I think they could have a second Stranger Things pinball focused on the later series, the later episodes, or the later whatever seasons. And I think people would buy it. I think they would, but I don't know, man. Like, am I the only one that thinks that no Cobra Kai? No? Is a zero? I don't know. Wait, I didn't even say. You know I'm not good with the ones and zeros. No, too cheesy. Really? Oh, dude, but you could weave in old Karate Kid, right? Sweep the leg multi-ball? Like, dude, I don't know. I'm just saying, I think you could. I think you could. Uh-oh, video's starting to lag some. Oh, no. What? Derek, you never liked Karate Kid? What the hell? But see, Jonathan, you would be down. You'd buy it, right? Or you'd play it. You'd play it. I don't know. I feel like Cobra Kai could work. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. It's a good thing I'm not making decisions for these pinball companies. Like, Cobra Kai was a bust, Ralph. What do you got? What else you got? I'm like, Beetlejuice? They're like, you didn't come up with that, did you? I'd be like, yeah, I did. No. Beavis and Butthead? Bunghole. TP for my bunghole multi-ball. Dude. Bunghole multi-ball all the way. Rudy's down. You see? I need TP for my bunghole multi-ball, dude. That's genius. Genius. I don't know what I'm even talking about anymore. See, this is when I'm falling off my train tracks already. Hey, what I want to say is, first of all, I had no idea what to expect coming online with no preparation. I didn't know if anybody would even show up. You know what I mean? It's been that long. I have not gone live for that long. Cornholio, I need TV for my bumhole. I think Beavis and Butthead could work, man. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe, I don't know. They'd have to do it up. They'd have to do it up really good. But anyways, I appreciate everyone joining. It's been a while. We're an hour and a half in. I usually only do like an hour. But then I'm like, usually I forget to pick up my son. And so then I look like father of the year. So I don't pay. He's stuck at soccer practice. He doesn't even play soccer anymore, but he's stuck at football. No, but there were I legit did leave him there one time. I mean, I didn't leave him. It just took a little bit to get him. I just said, hey, bud, I'm on my way. I'm right there. I'm like 5 minutes away. I swear, I'm 5 minutes. I did not. Dude, you think that I would actually be on a live stream instead of picking you up? Come on, what kind of father do you think I am? Anyways, yeah, I left him. It was once. You guys were I usually had an accountability partner, right? There was always someone that was an accountability partner. But anyways, guys, I can't thank you enough for joining. I don't know that we talked about anything that was the topic of this, but that's kind of how it usually goes in a Retro Ralph live stream. I usually have no idea we just have fun with it. Next time, yeah, we can maybe be a little topical next time. Maybe pick some topics that make sense. But I had all intentions of talking about rumors for pinball and all this stuff, but we'll save that for the podcast. Yeah, please, if you like, even if you don't like pinball, give it a shot. This is the QR code to go listen to the podcast I have on Spotify. It's a lot of fun. It's uncharted waters for me. I still consider myself a pinball noob, but I think for those of you that are newer to the hobby, you'll have fun with me coming along on this journey. So please consider doing so. I'd really appreciate it. If you want to watch it on YouTube, you can do that too. And that's the QR code for that. I'll leave it up there for a second. And now it's gone. So I hope you paused it. All right, everybody. That's it for now. And we will see you on the next one. Take care, everybody. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining. It's been so long. I appreciate the support. It's pretty cool. So many familiar faces. I really miss this.